Los Angeles Chargers, Kansas City Chiefs, Friday night football, guys. We are so back. Welcome to the full statistical breakdown for the AFC West showdown on Friday night. My name is Max Loeb. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new, you don't know me, I make these videos for every single primetime game, giving you unique, in-depth, quality information for your fantasy teams, your player predictions, as well as any edge you may want sitting on the couch watching the game with your friends. We talk about run scheme metrics, coverage data, and overall statistical trends. Now, this is not any type of advice, but good information that you can use if you would like to help in whatever aspect of your football watching experience you want. Without further ado, I do want to get into this. Before we do, I want to make sure everybody knows any picks and predictions that I may have as it relates to players who may score, player yardages who I like. Those will all be on the socials. There's links in the description for those if you have not seen them already. I highly suggest Twitter. That's how everything happens up to the minute. Then TikTok and Instagram, some other higher quality content, more in-depth stuff for you in there. Highly suggest you just follow all three. But without further ado, let's get into this breakdown. We're going to start talking about the Kansas City Chiefs offense versus the Los Angeles Chargers defense. Just kidding. We're starting on the other side of the ball. The Chiefs defense against the Chargers offense. The two most important things we need to talk about here are Justin Herbert, specifically his legs, as well as Ladd McConkey against this man-heavy team and scheme that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to roll out. So as you can see, the data outliers, basically any pieces of data that show us a specific trend that's across the entirety of the year or a stretch of time, that'll lead us to believe a certain position is going to perform better against the defense. Two trends here. The tight end stuff against the Chiefs, I don't love. I really don't, because I don't know how the Chargers are going to utilize the tight end position. It was a hot topic last year, didn't really get exponentially better in the offseason. The other part of this, though, is the quarterback position, especially as it relates to ground usage. Yes, ground usage. Justin Herbert's legs. The Kansas City Chiefs gave up the 8th most rush attempts to opposing quarterbacks, as well as the 7th most rush yards to opposing quarterbacks. When you go look at what Justin Herbert did against some of these man-heavy teams or heavier man teams, 8 carries against the Denver Broncos on that Thursday night football game. He carried the ball 4 times against the Kansas City Chiefs the last time they played in the regular season. Against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are a little more balanced, but were heavier in the man world, 5 carries for 65 yards. Tennessee, a lot of match concepts in their zone, 9 carries. Against Cleveland, only 3, which is interesting to note. Pittsburgh, only 1, which is interesting to note. But that was the beginning of the year. As time went on, it started to even out, where Justin Herbert had more productive days on the ground against these man teams. Think about it, guys. When you're playing man coverage, let's say you don't get home to the quarterback. The quarterback breaks the pocket. What defenders are literally watching the play to stop a quarterback from running? The only guy in man coverage that would be, because everybody else is so focused on covering their man, would be a quarterback spy. If you have good rush integrity, good rush lane integrity, you're probably going to keep the quarterback in the pocket. But if Justin Herbert breaks the pocket on a cover 1 pressure or a cover 0 pressure, I mean, there's nobody there to look at it. If you guys remember the Sunday night football game between the Cincinnati Bengals and New York Giants last year, Joe Burrow's long touchdown run, it's the perfect example where there's one spy in the middle of the field. Everybody else is focused on all these routes down the field, where if Joe Burrow makes one guy miss, or whoever the quarterback is makes one guy miss, they're off to the races. It's a touchdown. That is what I love in this game for Justin Herbert. Now, the coverage data, the Chiefs ran the 9th most man-to-man and the 2nd most middle field open last year, meaning the middle of the field is physically open, whether it's 2 safeties or 4 safeties, but they ran a lot of quarters. So cover 4 deep safeties, depending on match, palms, whatever they wanted to do. They ran a lot of it. Man-to-man is what I want to talk about, though, because Ladd McConkey, I've mentioned this a couple times in the offseason, legitimately was one of the best receivers in the league against man. 2.98 yards per route run. That's unbelievable, almost unheard of. 7th in the NFL behind guys like, George Pickens was up there. I believe Mike Evans may have been up there, but like in elite company. And he had the 3rd highest win rate against man in the NFL. And when you look at the target rates, where the Chiefs are allowing passes to go or did allow passes to go, and it's important to understand, Chiefs defense, granted, will change with players in the offseason, still similar schematically because of Steve Spagnuolo, allowed the highest percentage across any team in the NFL to have slot targets, meaning receivers or players running routes from the slot were targeted at the highest rate when they played the Chiefs compared to anybody else. Ladd McConkey is the Chargers slot guy. What's very interesting to me is how they're going to use Keenan Allen. I think that's a little bit of a question mark in all of this. But assuming they use Ladd McConkey in the slot, which is where he's best, probably his primary role, he's going to have opportunities. Even if he's going against Trent McDuffie, he's going to have really good opportunities to go one-on-one, to beat the leverage that he's seeing. He's going to have an awesome opportunity in front of him to make the most of the matchups across from him. Again, the inline stuff, it's weird because the Chargers threw the tight end position at the 8th highest rate, but there wasn't serious production. I mean, the Chiefs are average in terms of where they allow, but like I said, it's more the efficiency. They were giving up a lot of catches and the most yards to tight ends last year. And when you look at this Chargers depth chart, like, it's so hard to convince yourself that a Will Dissly, a Tyler Conklin, even a Rondé Gadsden will consistently produce, at least when you walk into week one. Somebody could prove us wrong as the season goes, but when you walk into week one, you don't know. Now, for the run game, we do have to talk about it because the Chargers love to run the ball. Chiefs' run defense is good. I just say stay away. I wouldn't lean too much into it because Najee Harris is playing. He's expected to play, which is very, very interesting to note. How much he plays, though, we don't know. We really don't know. And if I'm Jim Harbaugh or if I'm Greg Roman, how much do you want to spell him out week one? I mean, it's a long season. You're already known for having a committee of backs. I'm not convinced Najee is going to have some crazy production in this game, but it sounds like he's going to play. What if he takes meaningful snaps away from Omarion Hampton on the goal line? What if that happens against a good run defense? There's too many question marks there. But that's one side of the ball. We have to talk about the other side of the ball, and that is the Chargers defense against the Chiefs offense. You guys can see the big underlined name right now, Hollywood Brown. We'll talk about him in a second, but the only data outlier here, the Chargers gave up the 5th most running back receptions in the entire NFL, which is really interesting to note because you could go think back to the Kansas City Chiefs as they ended the year and you're like, oh, Kareem Hunt was great. Isaiah Pacheco was banged up when he was great, though. Like, go look at the Isaiah Pacheco game log and how he produced when he was healthy at the beginning of the year, right? 3 catches for 33 yards, 5 catches for 21 yards, coming back into the fold. 2 catches for 33 in week 1, 2 catches for 6, but 4 targets. Like, he got 16 targets across 8 games? That's multiple targets per game, being not the lead back, kind of the 1B to Kareem Hunt as time went on. And then the playoffs, obviously there wasn't anything really crazy there, but against Buffalo, a team who's very similar in shell structure to the Chargers, which we'll talk about in a second here, coverage, how much they play zone, he had 2 catches. Like, this is a guy who's going to be involved in the pass game, but my only worry is, what about Kareem Hunt? Because Kareem Hunt was really good when called upon as well as the season went on. Obviously, he ran the ball very effectively, but in those games where Isaiah Pacheco was playing, it was a 13-carry game, an 11-carry game, a 9-carry game. He got some goal line work, but it was not look at the Raiders game here, the 21-carry game, the Bucks game, 27 carries. He had 7 catches the week after that against Denver. Like, that type of usage you can't expect. When I look at these games, don't want to lean into guys who have question marks in the room. Isaiah Pacheco to me is the lead back, but Kareem Hunt was so good last year, he's going to get touches. I can't confidently lean into that. Truthfully, the Chiefs offensively, last year you guys saw it too, kind of a nightmare, but this year, even more so without Rashee Rice. But there is one very interesting break here I did find. Now, the coverage data with the Chargers, 4th most zone, 3rd most middle field open, 2nd most quarters. We all know this. I've talked about it a bunch last year. Chargers love the bend, don't break. They love to get everybody oxygen on the sideline on the offensive side of the ball. But Hollywood Brown, with the absence of Rashee Rice, which we're going to see again the first 6 weeks of this season, with Patrick Mahomes finding his footing in a newer offense, had the most targets per route run against all of zone coverage, whether it was 3, 2, 4, 6, every zone coverage. You put those numbers together, Hollywood Brown was targeted at the highest rate compared to Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, all those running backs. He was the guy. Now, I don't want to discount his talent because he's a very good player, but that shocks me. It shocks me when you're looking at some of these player projections. that's a name you got to pay attention to because of his athletic ability, his explosiveness, and just the overall usage against the coverages we're going to see from the Chargers, which, if it's anything like it was last year, same defensive coordinator, will be pretty similar. He was the guy who was used, which is very, very interesting to note, especially when you look at these target rates, right? Hollywood Brown, though a slighter guy, he was pretty balanced in where he ran his routes. Travis Kelce's the slot guy. Xavier Worthy's the slot guy. In terms of out wide guys, it's Hollywood Brown. And it's honestly, right here, it's Juju, who was pretty good against quarters, but it was Juju. Now, Rashee Rice is at the top of all of these rankings, and obviously he's out for the first 6 games of the year. But as you look at these breakdowns, again, it stinks because the running back numbers are the biggest numbers here, and you want to lean into it. But Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, you just don't know. The inline stuff is so fascinating. It's so fascinating because Travis Kelce has been good against the divisional opponents for the Los Angeles Chargers in the past, but how much do you trust him? How much do you trust him? I can ask him right here. You guys can see it close to the camera. How much do you trust the guy on your right, I believe? How much do you trust him? Can you? I don't know. To me, it's a Mahomes completion fest, check down, quick pass. I'm looking at catches instead of yards. Now, the run scheme metrics are important here. I mean, the Chargers had the 10th most zone yards per carry allowed, 12th most man gap yards per carry allowed. I don't think they got much better. I think it's a net neutral defensively with them, to be honest with you, especially in the run game. The Chiefs are noticeably worse in man gap, but they're balanced in what they do. Again, there's nothing in this data compared to, there would be things in this data that would make me feel confident in a Chiefs running back if we knew who was getting the majority of the snaps. I think Pacheco will get the majority, but it's a matter of how much. They don't run the ball as well as we thought they would. We don't know how well it will go against this Chargers defense as well. I don't know if I can trust the Chiefs running backs. As wild as it sounds, the data itself, like I'm going to trust Mahomes, but the data itself leads me to Hollywood Brown and then just stay away. Just stay away. I mean, Hollywood Brown has been exceptional against zone. He was really good without Rashee Rice. The issue is, where is he going to line up? How involved is Juju going to be? What do they have schemed up for Xavier Worthy? Because they've had months in advance to do it. The Chiefs right now, nightmare stuff. But on the other side of the ball, I do really like Ladd McConkey. I do really like Justin Herbert on the ground. Like, these guys have great matchups that they can take advantage of. So that is everything I have in terms of a breakdown for this Chargers-Chiefs game. If you guys did enjoy the video, please do leave a like. Please subscribe if you are new. We will have some type of general week 1 breakdown for all the Sunday games. And then at some point on Sunday, a Monday Night Football breakdown for the Vikings and the Bears. I don't want you to miss any of that. If you have questions, feel free to comment them. I appreciate you guys watching. We will see you next time. God bless.